Allie, we're live.
Yes, we are.
Join us, young man. Good morning. My name is Abe Bonowitz. Thank you all for coming. I'm the Executive Director of Death Penalty Action, and we're here today in front of the United States Supreme Court with a number of supporters, folks from different organizations that are here to say stop executions. And in particular, stop executions using gas to suffocate prisoners. Now, let's be clear. We oppose the death penalty for everybody. We do not believe that government can be trusted with the power to kill. Of course, carved into the face of this Supreme Court building, this un-Supreme Court building here in the United States, are the words equal justice under law. And if that is the bedrock foundation of our legal system, then anybody who has ever encountered it in the civil or criminal arena understands we do not have equal justice under law. Now, in 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down all death penalty laws, forcing any states that wanted to have a death penalty to write new laws, many of which did. In 1976, those laws were upheld with the Gregg decision, Gregg versus Georgia. And just 6 months later, January 17th, 1977, Gary Gilmore was executed by firing squad in Utah for his murder of Ben Bushnell and Max Jensen. And since then, we have had 1,595 executions in the United States. 1,595. And now, here we are, September 19th, 2024. Tomorrow in South Carolina, September 20th, 2024, we're going to see possibly the execution of Freddie Owens, who goes by Khalil. Freddie is a law of parties case. He actually says he didn't kill anybody in terms of the crime that got him to prison. So this will be South Carolina's first execution in over a decade. South Carolina is the fourth state this year, 2024, the fourth state to attempt to resume executions. Idaho tried, had a guy on the gurney poking him full of holes. And they had to stop because they couldn't get an IV going, but they tried, and they're going to try again. We're expecting a new date in Idaho for Thomas Creech at any time. Utah was successful in executing Tyrone Honey. South Carolina is going to try to execute Freddie Owens tomorrow. And Indiana has set a date for December 18th. In addition, there's a handful of other states that are carrying out executions. And over the next 7 days, we expect as many as 5 executions to take place. In South Carolina, tomorrow, Freddie Owens using lethal injection. Then, at the exact same time, on Tuesday, September 24th, in Texas, they're going to kill Travis Mullis, a volunteer who has waived his appeals. He's tired of living on death row, and he said, go ahead and kill me. And they're going to do that with lethal injection in Texas. By the way, Texas was the first state to use lethal injection on December 7th, 1982. At the same time, in Missouri, Marcellus Khalifa Williams is scheduled to be executed at 6 p.m. Central Time on the 24th. This is a case of wrongful conviction. This is a case where the state has admitted that it has mishandled the evidence. This is a case where DNA testing should have been done. And the Innocence Project is all over that case. Many people are paying attention to that case. And it is quite possible that Marcellus Khalifa Williams will be executed on Tuesday, the 24th of September. Then, on the 26th of September, next Thursday, 1 week from today, just about exactly 1 week from right now, it's 10 a.m. Eastern Time at 10 a.m. Central Time on September 26th, 2024, the state of Oklahoma plans to execute Emmanuel Littlejohn. Emmanuel Littlejohn did not kill anyone. Emmanuel Littlejohn was present and admits that he was part of a robbery that took place wherein somebody was shot and killed. However, the witnesses say that the person that did the shooting was the taller, darker man, Glenn Bethany. The taller, darker man. Emmanuel Littlejohn is the shorter, lighter-skinned man. The state accused both of them of being the shooter in separate trials. And in a separate trial where the prosecutor said he did the shooting, for each of them, Glenn Bethany got a life sentence. Emmanuel Littlejohn, in Alec, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can I get one volunteer to hold a sign over this, hold one of your signs over this, keep it in the shade? You stay back there. You're the next speaker. There you go. Oh. All right, Alec, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What was I saying when we got cut off?
You were still giving an introduction. I don't remember exactly what you were saying. I think you were going through all the executions. You had finished Khalifa. You were starting to talk about Emmanuel.
Alan Miller. About Little John. Did we talk about Little John?
You started, but we didn't hear Alan Miller yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you want me to stay here?
Yes, that keeps it from overheating.
Okay.
Keep it in the shadow.
Okay.
Right. You got to also stay, or you're not in the picture.
Yes.
There we go. Back up just a little bit. Perfect. Thank you. All right, we're back. Thank you for your patience with us. So, as I was saying, in Missouri, I'll just back up to say in South Carolina tomorrow, they're executing Freddie Owens, Khalil, be the first execution in South Carolina since in over a decade. Then on Tuesday, the 24th of September, they're going to execute in Texas Travis Mullis. They're going to execute in Missouri a man who in all likelihood is innocent, Marcellus Khalifa Williams. The state was actually going to have an evidentiary hearing about that. They cut it off and offered him a deal. And he had agreed to serve life without the possibility of parole while he continued to fight for his innocence. And then the Attorney General in Missouri decided that couldn't stand and appealed it. The Supreme Court threw it out. And now we're not sure what's going to happen. But this U.S. Supreme Court now has that case. We'll see what happens. 10 a.m. October 26th in Oklahoma, Emmanuel Littlejohn is scheduled to be executed. He didn't kill anybody. Emmanuel Littlejohn is the co-defendant of Glenn Bethany. The witnesses say that the taller, darker man committed the murder, and the lighter, shorter man was not the shooter, and yet the taller, darker man got a life sentence, and the shorter man got a death sentence. And they're going to carry out that execution. Then we're looking at Alan Miller. Alan Miller on September 26, 2024, could become the 1,600th person executed in the United States. 1,600 executions, and for this one, we're going to use gas suffocation, replacing the oxygen with nitrogen. This will be the second time in the history of this country that we're doing this. And one of the things that we're doing is calling on Allegro Industries and Walter Surface Technologies, which owns Allegro Industries, to disavow the use of their equipment in this execution. On Monday, we were at Walter Surface Technologies Corporation facility in Windsor, Connecticut. And we dropped off nearly 30,000 petition signatures. And we leafleted. We put a leaflet on each person's car. It's like this, asking We're telling people your respirator masks are being used in gas executions. And we are now, yesterday and today, calling that company and asking them to disavow the use of their equipment in executions. Because there should be no profiting from executions. No one should profit from executions. And yet, in Utah, they just spent $200,000 for drugs. I can euthanize my dog at my veterinarian for less than $400 using exactly the same drug, and yet they paid $200,000 for enough to kill one man. It's shameful. So here at the U.S. Supreme Court with me are some folks, supporters of death penalty action and the other organizations that are with us, Witness to Innocence, Journey of Hope from Violence to Healing, and there's many others. And I want to invite now Gary Drinkard, who is a death row survivor, an exonerated death row survivor from Alabama. He knew Kenny Smith, who was executed in January using gas. And he is here to share with us his perspective as a former death row prisoner. Gary?
Thank you, Abe. My name is Gary Drinkard. I'm an Alabama death row exoneree. While in Alabama, I was on Project Hope for Abolish the Death Penalty Board of Directors. I'm now on their advisory board. I'm now on the board of directors of Witness to Innocence, international organization. We're partnering with Abe Bonowitz, Death Penalty Action. I'm here to tell you that it took Kenny Smith over 20 minutes to die of that nitrogen hypoxia. A year before, they had stuck him full of holes with a huge needle, and they ran out of time. So they sent him back to his cell. That entire year, he went through torture, having nightmares about the needle that they stuck him with, having nightmares that they were going to try to kill him again. And when they put the mask on him and tried to kill him, well, did kill him with a nitrogen hypoxia, it took over 20 minutes for him to die. You think that's not suffering? That is cruel and inhumane punishment for a human being. Kenny was a good friend of mine while I was on death row. He was sorry he committed the crime. He would never do it again. He was a born-again Christian. He would help anybody he could with anything. People change. We don't need the death penalty. We certainly don't need gas suffocation for the death penalty. We need to get rid of all of them. Thank you.
I'm Suzanne Bossler, a victim survivor. I watched my father get stabbed to death, and I was also stabbed, left for dead, and worked the next 10.5 years in Florida to get the man who did it off of death row and in for life. That is what we need to do. We spend too much money. It is not a deterrence. And me going through the system of them working to get the death penalty delayed our healing process. And we are here today, all of us, like he said, I'm a Journey of Hope from Violence to Healing, and I'm co-founder. And we travel around the world to share our stories, how we get from anger to forgiveness. A couple weeks ago in Florida, we just had an execution of Lauren Cole. And 5, as he said, 5 are coming up. And we are going to hold signs, wear buttons, and t-shirts to show people that death penalty is wrong. Death penalty is not a closure. It does not bring the person back that has been found innocent afterwards. And we need to abolish the death penalty. My father, Reverend Bill Bosser, was a pastor of Church of the Brethren, which is a peace church. And I will work till the end of my breath, the last of my breath, to abolish the death penalty all around the world. These next 5 people that are going to get executed, the victims are on both sides. We will be bringing more victims into the system by those people too. The people on death row have mothers and fathers and daughters and sons that will suffer. So we need to abolish the death penalty. My father's favorite hymn was, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." But I say, let it begin with all of us, everyone out here in the world. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charles Keith. I'm the Impacted Communities Liaison for Death Penalty Action. I come from Canton, Ohio. I am the brother of ex-death row inmate Kevin Keith. When I sat at that trial, I saw some of the craziest shenanigans that I had no idea that our legal system would try to prove just to get a conviction to take a person's life. In 1994, President Clinton came into Ohio to introduce his Violent Crime Bill Act, and my brother became his victim. I sat through this court and watched a man be convicted with little to no evidence. No evidence. It's almost like what you hear today. Fake news, fake news. You got guys out here that's being convicted on fake evidence. I've been around, I've talked to so many people. We have over 200 exonerees. That's 200 mistakes. That's 200 people that could have died. We're approaching 1,600 deaths. It's as if our country is at war. That number is a mass number. That's like, you know, taking out a big mass of people. Here we are at a war. It's a spiritual war, but we're still losing lives. And we come out to try to reach all the good people that we can, all those people that hold life sacred. We need you to come out and join us. We need you to make those necessary phone calls. We need you to talk to the politicians. We need you to talk to your family. We need you to come out and help us end this abomination of killing Americans in America. Thank you.
Anybody else like to say anything? Please identify yourself all the way up to the left.
Hi, my name is Virginia Spatz. I live right down the street here in Washington, D.C., and I am an organizer with an organization called Matir Asurim, the Jewish Care Network for Incarcerated People. And we're not really an advocacy group. We don't have positions and vote on things. We're not that kind of a group. But we do work with incarcerated people and see the impact of living on death row and knowing there's a death row in your state all the time. And one of my pen pals and close study partners on Judaism is on death row, has been for his entire adult life. And we need to stop the death penalty. We need to stop the torture of the methods of killing people, but also we need to just treat everyone as a human being. And while I don't officially speak for Matir Asurim, I am a Jew who is very concerned about the welfare of people incarcerated, all their families, and the entire ripple effect of locking somebody up. Thank you.
And Joshua Crow. Charlie, is there anything? Right up to the left. Get the microphone. Right.
My name is Charlie Sullivan, and I am the director of CURE, Citizens United for Rehabilitation of Parents. And we began in 1972 and began in Texas and really got involved in trying to stop the death penalty. We have in '85 moved to Washington to be a national organization, and in 2001 we became an international organization. The death penalty is all over the world, and we're trying to stop it. And one of the ways that we try to stop it is joint coalitions, and this is the best coalition in regard to the death penalty and trying to stop it. So we encourage people to get involved and to join us. We are concerned with the death penalty as our primary reason, but we also are interested in all people incarcerated. So thank you.
Charlie. Go ahead.
That helps.
Good morning. My name is Mary Baudouin, and I'm with the Marianist Social Justice Collaborative, and also I'm a member of Catholic Mobilizing Network. A lot of Catholics don't know that the Catechism of the Catholic Church now shows that the death penalty is inadmissible. So we believe in life from birth until until natural death. And the death penalty is wrong. And I call on all Catholics to embrace and follow that teaching. So I'm glad to be here with Death Penalty Action, speaking publicly against the death penalty that needs to end now.
Thank each of you, or thank each of you for participating today, for being here with us on behalf of the millions and millions and millions of people in the United States who reject the death penalty, who recognize that we can be safe from dangerous offenders and hold them accountable without executions. And we know that that is true because it is what we do in the vast majority of cases. We abhor executions. We demand that they stop. And especially these next 5 days, we are shining a spotlight. We encourage people to go to deathpenaltyaction.org or your favorite state or national organization and sign their petitions and make sure that we are speaking out to say no to executions, and it must stop before we get to 1,600. We have had 1,595 executions and not one more. So I say to my friends here, what do we want? No death penalty. When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Thank you all for tuning in.